85% of my business so far in 2023 have been referrals. This video is going to cover everything about why I decided to become more of a referral agent in just my second year in the business, how it's benefited my business, and I'm going to share the best practices that have helped me along the way. I started having more leads coming in than I had time to actually help those clients with giving them the level of customer service that I wanted to provide that came with my brand. My personal limit was having 5 clients under contract at one time. I couldn't take on more than that and still keep the level of attention that I wanted to give to each client. Knowing that was my bottleneck, my limit, I started to grow out my team here in Tucson, Arizona, and started expanding on the checklist that I have for working with buyers, sellers, investors, rather than referring the clients to other agents outside of the brokerage where I didn't know how they actually operated and how much they would take care of my friends. My team has the same checklist that I have, covering every aspect of how a lead should be worked, what to say, when to say it, when to send buyer emails 1 through 6, seller emails 1 through 6, everything. Following the checklist from start to finish so that nothing is missed, I felt more comfortable at that point referring clients to my team, so I was able to take on more clients and help more families and start to scale. At the same time, I also knew a lot of outbound clients looking for a realtor that I could help connect them to a good agent, and that's what I did. Back to the why, it gave me a lot of time back that I could refocus on putting more content out there, talking to more people, and building up the overall volume. As of now, my rolling average since I've started in the business is that I spend 36 hours with every seller, 33 hours with every buyer until they close, and 9 hours with every referral. So if you add all of that up, that's 78 working hours total, right? So out of every 9 hours that I spend with a referral, out of all my working hours, that's 10% of the hours that I'm putting in to all the clients is my referral portion. If I'm getting back the remaining 90% of my hours back, I can spend that time working on other higher leverage activities, aka getting more clients, more referrals, growing the team. And yes, I'm only making 30% commission. I'm not making the full 100% like I would be if I was working directly with the buyers and sellers. However, 30% commission in order to get 90% of my time back is completely worth it, is a return on time and a good ROI in my opinion. All that being said, I went from personally being tapped out and having a max of 5 clients at a time or 5 closings a month. So realistically 40-ish closings a year if I wanted to continue only working directly with buyers and sellers, to earning 90% of my time back. Of course, there's room to improve my processes even more so I'd be able to handle 7 at a time, 10, 15. However, I wanted to focus more on growing my team so I can leverage out their time as they work directly with buyers and sellers, making those larger commissions on their own and more so work on the business. Because with the hours that I'm getting back in my business, if I add on even 1 more agent to the team, that's another 5 transactions a month that they can have going on at once. And I think it takes less time to get another agent than it does spending time working with buyers and sellers, because that's just 1 agent. So now multiply that by expanding the team to 5 agents, 10, 15. Now that's 15 more closings that we can do, 50, 150. That's how I'm quantifying my return on time. So talking more about how referrals have impacted my income in 2023, as of now, I'm on track to close between 50 and 55 referrals this year. Naturally, being that referrals typically only pay out 25% of an agent's commission, I do 30%. So I'll make about a third of the paycheck that I would normally receive when working directly with a buyer or seller. That means I have to literally 4x the amount of transactions I do in order to replace the income I was once making. I broke down my income to differentiate how much I make each hour with buyers versus sellers versus referrals. And I found that in 2023, even though I make the most with working with a buyer, which is about $450 an hour, I make actually the least working with sellers, which comes out to about $130 an hour. And I make around $362 an hour working each referral. Another reason as to why I became more of a referral agent is I didn't start a business, become a realtor in order to be a slave to my business for the rest of my life. Chances are you left your W-2 to gain more control. That's what I did. There are some amazing realtors out there that want to continue working with buyers and sellers up until the day they die, which is amazing. However, if your jam is to build real businesses, it's good to take a breather, take a 30,000 foot view from up above, look up from the work that you're currently grinding on, and get an overall perspective of what's working, what's not, what you like, what you don't. Now, I will say when you are a true referral agent, you won't have to pay the MLS fees, the super fees, other fees. However, I'm speaking in a more lax sense of a referral agent where I do still pay for those fees. I just choose to mainly do referrals. Sometimes you'll find within your brokerage, you'll have a cheaper option if you want to be a true referral only agent. So you'll pay less into your brokerage, which is nice. You just have to do the math to make sure that it works for you. I chose to keep my MLS and my super access because I'm still an investor and I'm still purchasing properties here. So I like having MLS access. These are the details that I do in my referrals. Most common that I've seen is 25%, but I do 30%. And I do 30% because if that agent that I'm referring to does a good job, I will be referring to them again and again. As far as the length, I do 3-year terms, since more or less that's around the time that a military buyer will purchase and sell. Each contract that I send out is good for 2 transactions. First on the buy side, then on the sale side. I do 30%, 3-year long for 2 transactions. Buy first, sell later. How do I find clients for referrals? Essentially, it's the same way you're gonna find clients overall. They are buyers and sellers. They're gonna be in the same spots that buyers and sellers are. I'm finding them in my friend group, my sphere, definitely in the military community. They're online, although I don't suggest paying for leads. I just mean social media. They're on Google, they're on YouTube. They're searching best realtor in Tucson, Arizona. They're searching pros and cons of moving to Tucson, Arizona. Be where they are. I am the biggest proponent of social media because it is free freaking marketing. What do you post? That you help buyers and sellers, that you had a really good transaction with so-and-so as a buyer and so-and-so as a seller. You should already be working, otherwise no one's gonna trust that you're actually a good realtor if there's no social proof. Another good option is partnering with a lender and asking them to let you know every single time the rates drop, because that is the hot topic. Rates change daily, and of course you can do this research yourself. It's also, I think, sometimes easier to hear it straight from a lender themselves. If you make videos and text people every week that rates have dropped, they're gonna start ignoring you, right? Because you're doing it every week. But if there's ever a big drop, make a video and announce that. I wanna touch on who's entitled to a referral fee. If an agent introduces you to a client with the intent of getting a commission, they're entitled to it. They introduced you to a client. However, if a client finds you elsewhere on their own prerogative, then there's no referral fee that would go to that agent. Here's a quick story. When I first got licensed, I had a client randomly reach out to me. I didn't know him. I didn't know where he came from. I think he found me on Instagram. He said he was firing his agent and wanted to work with me. I didn't know who that agent was. I know nothing about this guy. I forget if he was looking to buy or sell either. I do want to point out that that is already a red flag in my book. It doesn't have to be in yours. I found that if someone calls me out of the blue saying they just fired their agent and they randomly want to work with me when we've never spoken, I'm kind of leery about that because I think this client will make hasty, impulsive decisions and they might fire me just as quick. So I proceed with great caution. Anyway, I had a gut feeling where I didn't quite believe him. I asked him if he ended up signing the paperwork canceling his buyer broker agreement and formally ending things with them. He said he hadn't signed anything yet, but it was verbally agreed upon that the two would not work together. But I wanted to make sure that I wasn't stealing anybody's clients because that's not how I roll. I didn't want to step over anybody else's toes. So I asked him for the agent's name and number and I reached out to that agent. I called him up and I was like, hey, just as a courtesy call, I wanted to let you know that XYZ reached out to me saying that he found me on Instagram and wanted to work with me. I just wanted to make sure that you both weren't still working together because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. He goes, oh yeah, I don't want to work with him. And yeah, we're not a good fit, but I'll take 30% referral. I was so shocked I didn't know what to say over the phone. I certainly didn't say yes, but basically we hung up. It turned out to not be a good fit with that client anyway, go figure. I wrote that agent down on my never to do work with list. I just can't imagine having a client fire me and then after that client on their own free will finds another agent and that agent calls me as a courtesy call just to make sure that they're not stepping over my toes, that I at that time request a 30% referral fee or any referral fee. Don't be that agent. One of the best pieces of advice I ever got regarding agent to agent referrals was to start a group chat with that agent and the clients, both spouses if it's more than one person purchasing, and remain on that group chat for the entirety of the transaction. That will usually increase the amount of effort I find that that agent gives toward your friends, your clients that you're referring out. There have been a few times now where I'm in the group chat and the agent still takes 2 days to respond to a simple request. At that point, I'm finding backups. But I wouldn't have known that my friends were going to be ignored by an agent that I thought was great unless I was in that group chat. If at all possible, I do suggest you start a group chat and stay on it throughout the entire transaction. How do you thank someone that gives you referrals? I've always been thanked verbally, it's not a big deal. I don't require any sort of thank you, but one agent really stood out in his way of expressing gratitude that I do want to call him out. His name is Joe Bennett. He's out in Tampa, Florida. Awesome guy, really hardworking agent. He sent me a box of crumbled cookies 2 days after I sent him my first referral. And I thought that was so cute. Of course, just because an agent gives you a gift doesn't mean that they're a good agent, right? I think the best way a realtor can thank me for giving them a referral is bringing those clients, my friends, to the closing table and providing those clients good service so where I feel comfortable sending you more referrals in the future. However, those cookies were awesome because it was a complete surprise. I never sent him my address. He just found it because he's good at prospecting. It goes to show that if he's treating me this way, he's most likely going to be treating the clients the same way. Since then, I've given him 3 more referrals over the span of 2 months. If there's an agent who refuses to be part of a group chat, I kind of consider that a red flag because that agent might not live up to their word. They might know that their communication is not on point. They may end up pawning off your clients to another agent who's likely newer, less experienced. To avoid that, introduce your client to a couple of agents, 2 to 3 agents in the area that they're moving to, and let them decide who they like working with best. Sometimes the agent you think that they're going to super click with, they just don't. That gives the clients more autonomy and usually will increase conversion. So how do you find an agent? Ask other rock stars because of course rock stars know rock stars. If they don't know anyone, go under brokerage's database, type in the city and state, and find agents who are doing a lot of transactions in that area. They most likely will have their processes down. Find them on Zillow, find them on Google Business, and read their reviews. If you would want to work with them, add them to your database and Google Sheet, however you keep track of all your referral partners. As you're building out your referral database, put some time in your calendar. Whenever you're bored, schedule like 2 hours a week. Look at your brokerage's database, find the ones that have great reviews, and include them in your Google Sheet. You should have an easy to get to Google Sheet that you can get to from your phone when you're on the go, with a tab at the bottom labeled referral partners, another tab labeled vendor partners, etc. If you don't yet have a referral partner database, message me or comment below and I can send you a copy of mine. Here's another lesson that I learned. I used to think that by sending clients to the busiest agents, the ones with the most reviews on Zillow and Google, that was the best way to go because clearly they're tried and true, but I found that to not always be the case. A lot of times those agents are just too busy and end up pawning off my friends to another agent who does a half job, barely communicates, never updates me. It just doesn't end up working. What I like to do is I like finding someone with fewer than 50 reviews. And of course, it still has to be all 5 stars, all positive reviews, but one that might not be swamped with other clients. Once you find a couple of great agents in that area, how do you establish contact with them? I would say if you do not have a referral to give out, don't call them. Don't call them yet. Don't waste their time. When you don't have a referral to give out, just text them if you must communicate with them. I would say, hey, I'm Ali Garcet. I'm with Exp Realty. I'm out in the desert of Tucson, Arizona. I saw you came highly recommended by other agents for being a realtor out there in San Diego. And I just want to let you know I'll be adding you to my database for whenever I do have a referral to send out your way. Whatever you do, just don't be that person that calls pretending that you have a lead out there and a client to give when really you don't. I've had that happen to me and it was a complete waste of my time because I don't even typically answer the phone. And this agent said, I have a buyer, but never came around to telling me anything about them. So it was obvious they were just trying to build their database and just wasting my time. So instead, I put them on my never work with list. Now, on the opposite side of the spectrum, my favorite type of agent to refer to is one that does around 12 transactions a year, because at that point, they know what they're doing. They are not super swamped. They're usually friendly, someone who, of course, that I would personally want to work with myself, and someone who is not yet at a level where they won't have time for your referral, because therefore, they're gonna treat your client with the attention that they deserve. I asked that agent provide me weekly updates, and yes, weekly. And I got that idea from an awesome agent out in Lake Havasu, Lisa Quinn. Every single Friday, she emails me with an update. Even if there is no update, she emails me that she attempted to call or left the voicemail, whatever it is, however small, it's still an update. I really like that idea and I started implementing it myself, because otherwise, how will I know if that agent's even bothered to reach out to the client that I'm giving? It doesn't take her more than 1 minute on her end to provide me a status update. It's always better to over communicate than it is to under communicate. And if you're the receiving agent, give out updates weekly. Think about it from the originating agent. Do you think they want to be left in the dark? It's their friend that you're helping out. It's that agent's money on the line. And if you can't convert and those leads are hot leads, they're not going to send you another referral. This may be controversial, but if you find yourself hesitating on weekly communication, maybe it's because you aren't checking in with the client frequently enough. However, if you are checking in weekly or whatever the appropriate tempo is for that client, tell the originating agent every time you talk to them. Every time. For organization of referrals, I use my CRM, of course. I also use Trello and a Google Sheet, aka an Excel doc. I also hired a TC to send out every single referral form. So all I have to do is check in with the agent themselves. The TC will update all the admin tasks, such as whenever the buyer's under contract, what's the address, purchase price, close of escrow date, etc. On my side, I keep everything organized by using Trello. I have a whole board labeled referrals and different columns labeled before sending paperwork out, once I send it out to the TC, but she hasn't sent it out to everyone yet, once it has been sent out to everyone, once all 4 parties sign, once those buyers or sellers are under contract, once they're about a week out from closing, once they close, 2022 closes, 2021 closes, etc. Once I'm paid, then I change each card into a different color. I implement the profit first strategy, so out of every single paycheck, no matter where it comes from, a referral, working directly with a buyer or seller, revenue share, whatever it is, 3% goes to profit, 40% goes to owner compensation, aka what I'm gonna be living off of, 18% goes to taxes, 39% goes to operating expenses, or back into the business used to acquire more clients, whether that's paying social media manager, my VAs, a new computer, Wi-Fi, etc. Now, paperwork. In another video, I told my horror story of a referral where I verbally connected a client to a realtor out in Bossier City, Louisiana, but because I never did the paperwork, he refused to pay me, and this guy was a branch manager too. In case you didn't watch it, check it out and then come back to this video. The point of this is, in order for you to get paid on a referral, obviously all 4 parties need to sign the paperwork and they need to agree on the terms. Now, what are the terms? The length of the referral, who's the referral for, aka who are the clients, what % percentage, how many referrals, and the 4 parties I need to sign are you, the referring agent, your broker, the receiving agent, and the receiving agent's broker. Doing the paperwork is pretty easy. I can only really speak for Exp here. You go into your transaction management system, aka SkySlope. There's a specific link for Exp to Exp referrals, and of course, it benefits the brokerage to make it extremely easy to keep a transaction in-house, which really shouldn't matter because what's most important to you is that you find a great agent who's going to take care of your friends or clients, no matter what brokerage they're with. The link is below for Exp agents in case you didn't know. You just need to log in, fill out the information for all 4 parties, including the percentage negotiated for the referral, how long it's going to last, how many transactions is it good for, the client's information, click send, and that's it. The brokers will usually sign the same day. At that point, tell the receiving agent that you sent the paperwork out, it should be in their inbox, ready for their signature. It could be signed within 24 hours. Therefore, at that point, you can make the introduction as soon as you have the signed paperwork with all 4 parties' signatures. Do you need a TC or someone to actually manage your referrals? A lot of agents will hire someone specifically just for their referral. Everything from filling out the form for you, sending it out for signatures, and reaching out to that receiving agent along the way for updates. I've seen that they typically take around 10% of your paycheck when all is said and done, and that's probably well worth it. As much as I love delegating and paying other people to do things that's an inconvenience for me, I actually haven't utilized that. I just pay my TC a flat fee to send out the forms, stick it in the file, update the admin stuff such as the close of escrow date, purchase price. But I am the one reaching out to the receiving agent because I think no one else will do it better, and I can keep tabs along the way as I'm typically already in the group chat anyway. Can you cap as a referring agent? Is it possible? Yes, absolutely. My first ever year where I mainly worked with buyers and sellers, I capped at transaction number 7, and that's a $16,000 cap with my brokerage. So obviously now that I'm only making 30% of each commission, I have to increase those number of transactions. I still capped, and even though it took me 17 transactions instead of 7 to cap, I made it in faster time than I did when I was working with only buyers and sellers because I capped at month 7 instead of month 8 like I did last year. I started this video off with using my numbers from my first year in the business where I had 7 outbound referrals that closed. Soon I'll hit my 2-year mark where I'll be able to analyze my numbers during my second full year of being in the business. My update so far though, being April for 2023, is this. I've had 10 outbound referrals that have already closed out of my goal of 30, with 7 currently pending, and that's from the information that I pulled directly from my brokerage's reports. And I've added my own conversions to that and my own metrics that I like tracking. If you want a copy of my tracker, or if you want to schedule a call with me so I can explain how I analyze my numbers to make sure that I'm operating this business as a real business, schedule a call with me on my Calendly link below. I'm happy to walk you through it. Please subscribe if this helped you at all, and share this with a realtor friend.